This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light.
Hello and welcome to Godly Play. I'm Becky Sams and I'm the Christian Formation Director at Church of the Advent. And I'm here today with Marty Tabor. You're going to see her in a second. She's the Christian Ed Director at St. Mark's and my wonderful husband who is doing all the filming and editing. We're here at St. Mark's because Marty and I are going to be co-teaching Godly Play. We're going to be filming the lessons and posting them on our websites so that our families can follow along when it's convenient for them. I want to express a little gratitude to the Reverend Candace Lesher at St. Mark's for sharing all of these wonderful materials. We're so blessed that we have such a great relationship with St. Mark's. Marty not only is the Christian Ed Director here at St. Mark's, but she's our very own bookkeeper at Advent. She's one of my great friends, and she's also my cousin. So we're keeping it in the family. So when I first encountered Godly Play, it was probably about 20 years ago. Marty said not to mention how long ago it was because it would make me seem old, but I am. So my son was young, and at that time I held Marty's position at St. Mark's. And I was fortunate enough to work with Charles Hawkins, who's the minister at that time, and he fell in love with Godly Play. And I was privileged enough to be trained in Godly Play, and I brought it to St. Mark's, and they're still using it today. So we're revitalizing it a little bit, getting to enjoy being with each other. So I was immediately captivated by the process of Godly Play and how interactive it was for our children. Gives them a really nice language for talking about God. So Godly Play was developed by a gentleman by the name of Jerome Berryman when he lived in Italy in the early 70s. And he was there studying Montessori learning. And he felt it had such a powerful effect on children and created some real beautiful spiritual formation for the kids. Many people were talking about this approach, and he decided it definitely was going to be his path. So fast forward to 2020, Godly Play is taught all over the country and the world. There are over 100 beautiful stories that he's written, and they all come with these gorgeous handcrafted boxes and figures and felt pieces that the storyteller uses to communicate these very important lessons to our children. And I say that we focus on the children, but these stories can lend themselves throughout our entire lives. And at the end of this video, I have this wonderful reflection that I found that's so timely in our really unsettled times. So I want to show you around the Godly Play room. They're typically set up like this. The shelves are real low because it's child focused. The circle of children form around the storyteller. The shelf behind me is called the focal shelf, and it holds really important stories like about the Holy Family and World Communion, the temple, stories about Easter and Advent, Bethlehem. This is the circle of the church year, which will be our first lesson that we'll record and post after this introduction. We've got Easter here. I've got a beautiful big sand tray right here that will tell all of the lessons that are in the desert. So we'll use the sand tray to tell all of those stories. This bookshelf contains the parable boxes, and I love the parable boxes, and I've opened one up to show you what's inside them, but they are in a box, so they look like a gift, and the children can access all of this and play with it when they want to revisit the stories. But we talk about in the parables how the boxes are gold and they're gifts that we receive when we're born, and sometimes they're easy to open and sometimes they're harder, just as it is to understand that story. So the shelves on the other side of the room contain the books of the Bible, Old Testament stories with the ark and the flood, the Good Shepherd. So we just have access to all these beautiful materials, and I just cannot thank St. Mark's enough. So Marty and I have had a great time working on this in the last couple of weeks, and we hope you all are as excited as we are. Once the children enter the room, before they do, they're met by the door person. This is always a two-person team teaching approach. They're met by the door person who greets them and says, "Are you ready? Are you ready to come into our sacred space and join the circle?" So these are all my friends right now and the children that we're using. And some of them are from Marty's family and some from ours. Some are from the nursery at Advent, so they may look familiar to some of our younger parishioners. So